Iowa's Republican governor appears to be reigniting her feud with former President Donald Trump. Kim Reynolds, who has pledged for now to remain neutral in the crowded GOP primary, chided the Republican frontrunner today for skipping events at the Iowa State Fair, a key proving ground for presidential candidates.
They expect him to be here. They want to interact. They want to interact with all of the candidates. He was on the fairgrounds. He just chose not to do the Fairside Chats. But I think it was a great opportunity for Iowans to continue to hear from our candidates.
Now, that, of course, is not the only big event that he's snubbing. He's also planning to skip the first primary debate on Fox for an interview with fired Fox News anchor Tucker Carlson. Let's discuss now with former Trump White House Press Secretary Stephanie Grisham and former advisor to Vice President Mike Pence, Olivia Troye. Ladies, great to see you. Stephanie, let me start with you first. You were on with Trump on the campaign trail inside the White House with him. Is he making a mistake in skipping this debate?
Well, I think there's two schools of thought, right? The strategist in me would tell him not to do it. He's so far ahead. Why go up there and get, such a contrast between these other candidates and himself, which I think they would show to be, most of them, a lot more presidential than he is. However, I do think by skipping so many events, he's starting to seem like he's above it all. And that's not a good thing, especially in a Republican primary. You've got people who, as you just played in that clip, really do want to meet and say hello and hear from the candidates. And so I think in a way, if he continues down this path, it will be a mistake.
Yeah, and Olivia, what do you think? I mean, he's going to do this interview, I guess, with Tucker Carlson instead. What does that say about where this primary process is right now?
Well, look, I think it's typical of Trump to create his own rules and be the rule breaker, right? Which is why I think some of these RNC rules that they've set up are a joke, because he's not going to follow them. And so this whole pledge of allegiance to whoever is the nominee, he's probably not going to follow that anyways. So why are we going on along with it, right? I know Ronna McDaniel, there's been reporting that she's not exactly thrilled about how this is playing out, but this is Trump's party. And I mean, what are they going to do? They're going to have to navigate around this. Don't discount that he may show up at the last minute. I don't know. That interview is apparently pre-taped, apparently with the former, most dangerous former TV host that we had out there. So, and I don't even know where it's supposed to air. I haven't really seen that's actually been officially confirmed on what platform it'll actually show up on. So I think, TBD, but it'd be nice to see these other candidates have the opportunity to actually engage with them instead of debating, the invisible person that's out there as a front runner.
Yeah. And Stephanie, Republican Senator Bill Cassidy is taking an almost heard of step in today's GOP. Listen to what he told my colleague Casey Hunt on State of the Union this morning about whether Trump should leave the presidential race.
I think so, but obviously that's up to him. I mean, you're just asking me my opinion, but he will lose to Joe Biden if you look at the current polls. I'm a Republican. I think any Republican on that stage in Milwaukee will do a better job than Joe Biden. And so I want one of them to win.
It sounds like, Stephanie, that there are some there is some nervousness inside the party in some quarters about how all of this is becoming just a really bad spectacle for the party writ large. The other aspect that we're keeping an eye on is we're hearing Trump could surrender to authorities in Fulton County on Thursday or Friday. And I was tempted to ask you this, Stephanie, so I'm just going to ask it. You know how sensitive Trump is about how he is photographed. How do you think he's going to react to having his mugshot taken if that indeed happens?
So outwardly, I think that they'll try to capitalize off of it, fundraise off of it, talk about how, unfair the whole process is. I think that they'll try to fundraise, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Inwardly, he is not going to like it. He is not going to enjoy being fingerprinted. He is not going to like having a mugshot taken. And he's certainly not going to be happy with the fact that he has to go to a jail rather than a courthouse. He has become so used to accommodations being made for him, whether it's, as Olivia said, with the debate and Ronna McDaniel and people just allowing him to do what he wants. I think this one's going to really hit him hard, though he'll never, ever admit it. And I will say I agree completely with everything that was said this morning. I think that he should step out of the race. I think there's absolutely no way he will win the general election against Biden. And if he had any love for this country, as he constantly says he does, he would see that and drop out too. The people around him should be telling him the same thing.
And Olivia, your old boss, Mike Pence, is weighing in on the special counsel's classified documents case. Let's listen to that.
The handling of classified materials is enormously serious in the life of the nation. In my case, I was never made aware of any broad-based effort to declassify documents.
You know, Trump has claimed that he did declassify swaths of documents before leaving office, whatever stock you can put into those statements. But how damning is it for him that a top member of his administration is essentially contradicting him?
Yeah, well, here you have his own vice president contradicting him. And if anyone would know, it would be Mike Pence. We certainly worked on classified matters together. And if something like that had been done, Mike Pence would definitely be aware of it. And so would every other national security advisor. And so far, nobody has really come forward in a credible way and said, yeah, that happened. And so, you know, I think it's important for Mike Pence to say this because I think it is critical. It is important for our national security to really speak truthfully about what's happened here with those documents, especially since given the lives that have possibly been put at risk and what it's at stake here. So I think, you know, if Mike Pence, you know, he's continuing to seek the presidential nomination, then he should be truthful about this and call it out for what it is.
All right, Stephanie and Olivia, we're following a lot of breaking news this afternoon, so have to cut it short, but thanks so much for your time this evening. Really appreciate it. Great to see both of you. Thanks a lot.